got a great relationship with Jimmy. I don't think this is bad in any way. I think Jimmy understands what happened here over the last couple of years. We understand, and this is the business part of the league. And whether it's tomorrow, whether it's a couple of weeks from now, whether it's right before week 1, I think our team will be in a good spot, and I think Jimmy will be in a good spot, most likely somewhere else.
Intercepted. It is picked off by Eric Crocker. Over midfield, he'll run it all the way into the end zone. Touchdown.
Cross Talk TV podcast. Peace.
Welcome to another episode of the San Francisco 49ers Morning Show. I'm your host, former NFL and AFL defensive back, Eric Crocker. I'm do-rag Eric Crocker today. Let's go. Shout out to everybody in the chat. See the flames going up. We talking San Francisco 49ers today. Kyle Shanahan, chatting with Tim Kawakami, all that good stuff, everything. I got a bunch of notes here in my little notepad. So talking all that, his comments on Deebo Samuel, some thoughts on Trey Lance. Training camp is starting. Everybody's reporting. Good times. Good time. Football's back. Football's back. This is the meaningful stuff that I like to chat about. All right. Of course, we've talked about some of these things on the Locked On 49ers podcast. So if you're not already, tune in to the Locked On 49ers podcast with myself and my co-host, Brian Peacock. We come at you 5 days a week. That's Monday through Friday on any streaming service that you use or on YouTube as well. As always, we got Underdog Fantasy right there, underdogfantasy.com. Download the Underdog Fantasy app. Use promo code Crocky. They'll match whatever you deposit up to $100. And it's over-under time, baby. We're doing over-unders, player props, all that good stuff on Underdog Fantasy. So make sure you tune into that as well. Support your boy, support the show, all that good stuff. I'm looking at the chat. See the chat going up. All right, let's go. I put this out on Twitter that I was doing the morning show. Again, I don't post this to Twitter. You know what I'm saying? They got to come over to YouTube to get this. So we'll see how many of the Twitter folks filter in here right now. I'm looking at the chat. You already know. I see my regulars in here. And y'all know what it is, man. We got to get the flames going. 5 flames if you're feeling great. Anything less than that, we need to talk about it. You know, that's the whole mental health check. And you know, I don't know. I deal with stress extremely well. It wasn't until recently, and some of y'all know I have a gym that's being built right now, and huge gym, almost 12,000 square feet. A lot that goes into it. And I went on this family vacation to Disneyland, and I'm spending all this money. I mean, I don't know how much money I spent on Disneyland. Like with the kids, there was flights, there was all kind of stuff, driving, all kind of crazy stuff, and I spent $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. I don't know. It was a lot of money, whatever I spent on that trip. And I'm like, man, I could have been using that to go towards my gym, my business. And like this sense of like stress kind of came in. And I don't really have a whole lot of stress. So that was definitely interesting. But maybe I needed my mental health checked out. I'm good right now though. So I see the flames coming in. Looking at the chat, here we go. I see Peachy up in here, Jerome up in here, 5 flames. Everybody feeling good. We got almost 100 people in, less than 3 minutes in, so you know it's going to be a big-time show today. Here we go. Good morning, Tanya. Everybody, man, everybody's in here. And Tanya's here. I'm hyped after listening to Kyle on the Tim podcast. You know what, Tanya? That's the topic of today. Most of what we're talking about. We got some good stuff that they gave us today. Here we go. Got my regulars in here. Regular, degular. Let's go. Croc, you have to treat the family to a good time, my brother. You do. Here, I don't know if y'all know who Ben Baller is. I listened to Ben Baller. I listened to his podcast. It's called Behind the Baller. And he talked about finding ways. And he's like, 100 millionaire or whatever he is. But he talked about finding ways to spend time with the family, do things with the family, be spontaneous with the wife without spending a bunch of money, right? And that's what I need to get better at because, man, $5,000 on something that's gone, like, okay, it was cool. It was good 3 days, but that ain't Crocky. If anybody knows me, I do not like spending money on stuff. And I'm just like, man, imagine all the things I could have did to my gym to help the aesthetics of it and all that with that. But it's cool. It's cool. You know, money comes, money goes, all that good stuff. I might win this Underdog Fantasy this season. Not in my league. And we're going to have an Underdog Fantasy league real quick. Thursday, because I believe Friday I'm flying out to California, getting my USA weightlifting certification. But Thursday, I'm going to do a gift giveaway. It's going to be this basket that I'm ordering. And with the basket, I'll pick a random person. Whoever's in the chat, all I'm going to do is scroll through. And it's going to be something like this. Like, I'm going to be like, oh, okay, boom. And Mike L would have won the gift giveaway. It'd be a basket with a bunch of 49er stuff in there and a jersey of his choice. And it'd be all shipped out to him. So that's what we're doing on Thursday, gift giveaway Thursday, as well as talk about training camp. Wednesday, I have a guest coming on, and it will be a weekly thing to cover the training camp practice. Someone that is there. Obviously, I'm in Arkansas, I can't be there. But somebody that's there on the ground, beat reporter of the 49ers, has been covering the 49ers for some years now, has their own CEO of their own website, doing a big thing. So I'll surprise y'all with who that is. But I think we've done enough talking so far, and now it's time to get into a lot of Kyle Shanahan's comments. Here we go. Morning, got the 5 stars going. Let's go. More stars, more flames in here. More flames in here. All right, y'all. Oh, another thing we're going to talk about today. Chris Sims, he ranked Deebo Samuel the number 2 wide receiver in the NFL. Number 2 wide receiver in the NFL, Deebo Samuel. So I have some thoughts on that and some of the things he said. And it's like, I've been trying to tell these motherfuckers, Chris. I've been trying to tell them. All right, so I can't wait to get to that. And that's not like a, what they call a confirmation bias type thing. It's just, because he got him 2, he got him 5, he got him 7. I don't care about that. But some of the things that he said is like, Chris, this is what I've been trying to tell people. And I'm not saying I agree with his whole list. I think lists are made for discussion. But some of the things that he said about all that is like, I just like the perspective. All right, I like the perspective. So we're going to get into Chris Sims' top 5 list. But with no further ado, let's talk about Tim Kawakami and Kyle Shanahan's interview. If you weren't in here at the start when we first went live, I played a soundbite of what Kyle Shanahan said. And essentially, he said, listen, you know, we had a good run with Jimmy Garoppolo. It was awesome. But it's come to an end. And everything that he referenced in that interview was all surrounding, building around Trey Lance. Everything was about it. So we've heard all kinds of speculation. We've heard all kinds of different things out of the media. And one thing that I took away from this, I took a bunch of things away from it, but Kyle Shanahan does not pay attention to social media. He doesn't pay attention to social media. He doesn't pay attention to the media. He tells his guys, like, look, if there's something that is being said out there, like, come in, ask me. And he's going to be up front with guys. He's like, a lot of this stuff he had no idea about. So when you hear all these reports and you hear Silver or whatever talk about the arm fatigue of Trey Lance, it's funny because the head coach, he's having lunch, right? He's having lunch with Brandon Ayuk and Trey Lance in San Diego, him and John Lynch, right? Having lunch. And Brandon Ayuk kind of laughs about it, about this whole arm fatigue. He makes a reference about arm fatigue. Trey Lance laughs about it, and he's like, Coach, like, you know, what is it? And Kyle didn't laugh because he's like, what are y'all talking about? Like, Kyle had no idea what they were talking about. He didn't even know anything about arm fatigue. He's like, dude, every quarterback I've been around has had some kind of arm soreness at some point. So he's like, this is not a big deal. He doesn't know where it's coming from, but definitely someone out there is making it a bigger deal than what he is. And he's like, I didn't see any issues. Like, I know he, you know, broke his finger and, you know, or whatever, but it's like arm fatigue, like, I don't know. He's like, I don't know. And it was really funny to hear. Here we go. Got my guy in the chat right here. He says, Stafford has arm fatigue, just another narrative. Right. And there were other people that had arm fatigue as well. All right. Croc, what happened to only wanting like 3 quarterbacks over Jimmy G in the comeback situation? Now you are not so high on him. Hold on, big fella. Hold on. There are, and if we're talking about in the last minutes of a game, I like the way that Jimmy Garoppolo operates. And he has proven to be able to come through in those moments. That's not my issue with Jimmy G, right? And I mean, obviously, you see a moment like the Rams game where he didn't come through, right? But I could say I'm not going to look at that Rams game and say, you know what? Yeah, that's why, like, that's all he is that, right? He ended his 49ers career with an interception, throwing the ball backwards or whatever he did. I'm not going to say like that's what I will remember him as a 2-minute quarterback. I think more times than not in the last 2 minutes of games, I feel very comfortable with the ball in Jimmy Garoppolo's hands. The issue is a lot of times it comes down to that last 2 minutes because of him. So that's a whole different discussion. The 49ers in the Dallas Cowboy game, that should have been a blowout. If you have a better quarterback, and again, Jimmy is solid, so don't take this and it's crazy. I know how y'all do, man. Like, don't take this as me saying Jimmy is this bad, terrible quarterback or anything like that. Like, nah, like he's solid. But if you have a better quarterback, a tier above him, that's probably a blowout game against Dallas Cowboys. Jimmy's not really capable of blowing teams out. Like, he won't be the reason you blow a team out. How many times did you see, okay, I don't want to compare Jimmy Garoppolo to Josh Allen. I think we know that he's not Josh Allen, right? Josh Allen always comes up on this show. But I just watched Josh Allen against the New England Patriots in the playoffs, in the wild card round. And I watched Josh Allen just rip them a new one. He was like 23 of 27, 5 touchdowns or whatever he threw. Like, he threw more touchdowns than incompletions. Like, he murdered them. Like, he murdered the Patriots. It was a blowout. Mac Jones never had a chance. He can't keep up with that, right? And it was very clear that the reason that game was a blowout was because, goddamn, like, this quarterback is just too good. You never say that about Jimmy Garoppolo. And the 49ers haven't even had any of those type of games because that's not him. It's just not. You need to lean on the run game. You need the defense to play good. He's going to do some weird things to keep the game close. And then you hope at the end of the game he can come through. So when you say, Croc, what happened to only 1 in 3 quarterbacks over Jimmy Garoppolo in a comeback situation? That's very specific. And not even comeback. I just mean in the last couple minutes of a game. I like my chances with Jimmy Garoppolo. But the issue is having to depend on that. Because I believe Jimmy's record in that kind of moment or fourth quarter comeback, whatever it is, he's like 52% or 55%, something like that. The only person above him in that was Tom Brady, and like for their careers. Now, Jimmy hasn't had a ton of opportunities like Tom Brady, but he's had enough to where he was like 50%. That's still like when we're talking about playoffs and close moments and things like that. That's tough because you might win one like they did against the Green Bay Packers, where he made a couple throws and put them in position, and they kicked the field goal and won the game. But then you turn around and you lose one to the Rams in a game that maybe if you have a slightly better quarterback with the 49ers team, which Kyle Shanahan touches on here, we're going to get into that. I'm getting off topic because of this question. But with the Kyle Shanahan quarterback, I mean, just in that situation, like, dude, it should be a blowout if you have a slightly better quarterback, a quarterback a tier above. Some of these games shouldn't even be that close. The NFC Championship game, 49ers were up 10 in the fourth quarter. Can you have a quarterback that can just kind of put this game away? And that's just not necessarily Jimmy Garoppolo. So that's why I would move on from Jimmy Garoppolo. If possible. If there were no Trey Lance, I think we would still be trying to figure out, like, man, can the 49ers get better than Jimmy G? But you'd be okay with Jimmy G being your starting quarterback. But the fact that you drafted Trey Lance, now it's just the business side of things. And Kyle Shanahan touched on that and talked about, hey, we made the decision, and again, this is back to the Tim Kawakami interview, but he said, you know what, man, we made the decision a year ago to go all in with Trey Lance. And he said that it was good to see Trey Lance with Jimmy Garoppolo because he felt like Trey Lance needed that year. He needed that year to learn what it looks like, how to be a professional, and learn from Jimmy Garoppolo. And he feels like Jimmy Garoppolo really helped Trey Lance in that transition. Transition. Here we go, and we're going to touch on this for sure. So he said he need that. So now, a lot of good content there and things to take away from the Tim Kawakami interview. And there's a couple of things. So I see right here, Jimmy G may be staying now. If you listen to Kyle Shanahan, he ain't staying. Kyle Shanahan said, listen, and I played it, and you know what? I'll play it again for those of you who maybe missed it. All right, I gotta find that little clip. Here we go.
That I have gotten to see him, so Jimmy understands what happened here over the last couple of years. We understand, and this is the business part of the league. And whether it's tomorrow, whether it's a couple of weeks from now, whether it's right before week 1, I think our team will be in a good spot, and I think Jimmy will be in a good spot, most likely somewhere else.
Is it possible that he's participating in practices with the 49ers this camp?
I think anything's possible, but that would surprise me right now.
Just going a little bit back to last season.
So you hear what he just said. So I hear you like Jimmy G may be staying. He's saying like, look, he's going to come in. He's going to get his physical and all that and get checked out. That's going to help him potentially get cleared. But he's like, I don't see him practicing with us. Like, we're moving on. He said, hey, whether it's a week from now, 2 weeks from now, or a week before training camp, he's out of here. Like, he's going to be somewhere else. That's what he said. The 49ers are going to be in a good spot, and Jimmy Garoppolo will be in a good spot somewhere else. He doesn't anticipate Jimmy being there. Now, maybe Jimmy G will be staying. I don't know. But if you listen to Kyle Shanahan, it sounds like he's kind of over and done with the whole Jimmy Garoppolo thing. And he talked about how, and he says this, it feels great not to have to answer the question to who's my quarterback. Like, he's all in on Trey Lance. Just like the Diana Rossini interview or her little segment on Get Up or whatever on ESPN. Whoever she was texting, the guy said, look, I don't know how many different ways I could tell you. We are all in on Trey Lance. And Kyle Shanahan continues to say it. And he's like, I feel like I've said it enough. I feel like I've said it the right way. And it's like, for whatever reason, people continue to just gloss over it or something. So I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. It's a narrative. I have this guy in my DMs all the time. And he says, and he's like, nah, like they're lying. And it's like, dude, if you think that they are still lying about this, about what their intentions are, and that they just have some master plan to keep Jimmy around, you are sadly mistaken. And I hope this interview answered all the questions. He went on to talk about the roster around Trey Lance. And he said, listen, I know, he said, made the decision a year ago. Jimmy gave Trey the year. We talked about that. He said, I think the team is ready for Trey Lance. And I put it in the question mark, what does that mean? He says, Lance has the ability. He's made up all the right stuff. Doesn't know exactly what to expect from Trey Lance. Because he said you never quite know with a guy that, hasn't played a whole lot. But he said, will be good. He said there will be good and there will be bad. He said, just like any veterans. And then he referenced 2019 with Jimmy Garoppolo. And he's like, look, coming off an ACL, Jimmy Garoppolo had some up and down play. And when he wasn't playing that great, we felt like we had a good roster, a good defense around him to help. And then towards the middle of the season, Jimmy Garoppolo started playing better. And there were times where he had to really kind of carry the load a little bit. But it's like, yeah. And he also talked about the fans. He said, hey, we feel like we have the guy. He's going to continue to grow, have a really good roster around him. So he doesn't have to be everything to this team. Everything doesn't have to be on Trey Lance's shoulders. We have a good run game. We have a good defense. We have good weapons. He said, I just hope that the fans are patient with him. And so he continues to say, Trey Lance is the guy. And he's moving on from Jimmy Garoppolo. So how exactly do they move off of him? Is it via trade? Is it those are the things that, we just don't know. But they're moving off of Jimmy Garoppolo. Will they release him? Will they whatever? I don't know. And maybe they'll try to wait and see it out if maybe there's an injury and if they can get something for him. It sounds like they don't anticipate him even being on the practice field. But I think it's very clear that the Jimmy Garoppolo era is over. And if you listen to that and you still have these doubts, that now I don't know what to tell you. And I had a guy that was like, when did you start taking what Kyle Shanahan says at face value? And I'm like, I've always felt that way. Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch John Lynch has to be a little bit more of a politician, but he kind of slips up and tells you exactly what they're talking about and exactly what they're thinking. Kyle Shanahan is very straightforward. He tells you I feel like sometimes even too honest. He tells you exactly how he feels about something. And when he doesn't, and this is what y'all should probably pay attention to, when he doesn't want to answer something, he gives the response of like this kind of asshole, right? Where, the response is more of, well, I don't know if any of us will be alive on Sunday, right? Like that's him giving an answer. Like, I don't really want to answer that. He gives this asshole response. I've heard him do it in press conferences. Obviously, we heard him in that press conference before the draft where they're like, oh, will Jimmy Garoppolo be in the roster this year? Like, I don't even know if we'll be alive on Sunday. Whatever. He'll give you that kind of BS answer. But more times than not, Kyle Shanahan, he's a very straight shooter. He's very straight shooter with his players. He said that he wants everybody to know exactly where they stand with him. And I feel like he's a straight shooter with us with as much as he can give. And he's been shooting straight with this Jimmy Garoppolo situation. And for some reason, whether it's the media or certain people on Twitter with this whole Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be the starter week 1, that's not the sense I got. And that hasn't been the sense since 2000, since the offseason started. Everything that they've said is we're trading him. And then going into the summer break from mini camp into training camp, when that little break right before and they had the last press conference, he said, I anticipate Jimmy Garoppolo being traded. Nothing has changed. So I hope that makes a lot of sense to a lot of people, and we can kind of dead the whole Jimmy Garoppolo thing, and we'll see what happens. I mean, the only thing that we wait on now is, does he get released or does he get traded, and where does he end up? But as far as his time as a 49er, I believe it's over. And it was an honor. I see this right here. It was an honor. Jimmy Garoppolo was good. He came through and helped the 49ers when they were down in the dumps, right? You're talking about the team. When he was traded for, they were like 0-7, 0-8 or whatever. He came, wasn't a great situation, and he gave the 49ers fans hope. And he continued to do that. And there were a lot of ups and downs. And like Kyle Shanahan said, hey, there's going to be ups and downs with Trey Lance, just like there are with veterans. Or there was ups and downs with Jimmy Garoppolo. It's almost like people don't remember week 1, 2018, he threw 3 interceptions, 1 pick 6, and the 49ers lost on the road to the Minnesota Vikings. And then the next week, he damn near threw a pick 6 to lose the game to the Detroit Lions. Right? Like, it wasn't all great. Then they got blew out by the Kansas City Chiefs. So it wasn't all great with Jimmy Garoppolo. There were a lot of weird moments. Opened the next season with a pick 6 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and it took 2 interceptions, 2 pick 6s by Keller Witherspoon and Richard Sherman to win that game. Like, it wasn't all great. But 49ers won a lot of games, and I salute him for that. He definitely helped. 1-10, right? No, they were 1-10 when he started his first game, but when he got traded there, they were like 0-7. Because it was like right after like the Eagles game, and then, they needed time for him to kind of learn the offense or whatever they did. Appreciate everybody that's in the chat right now. Shout out to all 230 of you in here. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, all that good stuff. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Hope everybody's doing well. Definitely will bring y'all on in a few minutes to discuss more on this topic or whatever it is that y'all want to talk about. All right. Deebo Samuel. Chris Sims said that Deebo Samuel is not just a top five. My bad, y'all. Is not just a top 5 receiver. Chris Sims said Deebo Samuel is a wide receiver 2 in the NFL. Like the number 2 overall receiver in the NFL. And they had him ahead of a lot of guys. And there was a soundbite that I wanted to use. All right. So I'm going to bring that soundbite up right now. It's at 21:25. So bear with me real quick. Here we go. All right. No. Here we 27. Here we go. This is going to have to do. Hold on. All right, here we go. So this is Chris Sims, and this is what he said about Deebo Samuel. Or not Deebo Samuel, but just viewing receivers and how they are.
Exactly right. Well, I mean, all right. So we're talking about receiver here, and sometimes people go like, "Well, receiver," or like, what are we talking about?" Well, I don't know. Receiver.
What are we talking about? What was that? I feel like Chris Sims has been watching the San Francisco 49ers morning show, because just the other day I'm like, bro, what are we talking? Like, what do you mean? What do you mean he's not a true receiver? What do you mean he's not a pure receiver? But hold on. Keep talking, Chris Sims.
This day and age are asked to run reverses, speed sweeps, toss sweeps, get yards on screens. Yes, run go routes. We know that. Yes, all the intricate routes we just talked about, slant returns and all the double movements and all that stuff. Yeah, but that's all of it. So I don't like when people go, well, he's not a real receiver. He's just a weapon. Well, fuck, then sign me up for the weapons. I don't know what.
So y'all hear it, right? So he ended up saying Deebo Samuel was the wide receiver 2 in the NFL. And a lot of it is just because he's like, look, the dude's scary, he's dangerous, and anytime he touches the ball, he's a threat to score. And he's like, he feels like his route running is underrated. I feel like a lot of what he was saying about Deebo Samuel, things I've been yelling. It's like, what are y'all talking about? Is he a great right receiver? And he talked about it like, what? Just because a guy can't run the crispest 3-yard return route, where he goes one way, puts his foot in the ground, goes the other way, and it's like, great, oh my gosh, what a route. It's like, dude, I don't care about that. Give me the guy that's explosive. Give me the guy that's dangerous. Give me the guy that's a threat to score anytime he touches the ball. Give me the guy I could just throw the ball down the field with. And that's all I've been saying about Deebo Samuel. I'm so confused with what people are saying, and I need to just leave it alone. I need to leave it alone because it doesn't make sense. I saw somebody on Twitter yesterday, and it's like, it was, I was like, don't respond. Don't respond. It was so stupid. It was like, Deebo Samuel. Matter of fact, it might have been under Chris Sims' list. And I'll say his list of his top 5. Hold on, because I know I bookmarked it. 1 second, y'all. But it might have been under his list. And somebody was like, Deebo Samuel's not even a receiver. It's like, bro, what? What are you talking about? So here's his list. At wide receiver 5, he had Cooper Kupp. And he also talked about, he's like, dude, just because you have a ton of catches or lead the NFL in catches doesn't mean you're a top 5 receiver or the best receiver in the league. And he said, when Wes Welker was leading the NFL in receptions and had 1,500 yards, was anybody saying he was a top receiver in the league, like the wide receiver 1 in the league? Like, no, they weren't saying that. So at 5, he had Cooper Kupp. Obviously, he really likes him. At 4, he had Justin Jefferson. At 3, he had Tyreek Hill. At 2, he had Deebo Samuel. And at 1, he had Jamar Chase. And a lot of people, obviously, oh, terrible list, terrible. He said another thing I've been saying all along. All right. And he was like, there are like 20 receivers that you could say are a top 10 receiver. I swear he's been watching the morning show. Didn't we just have a discussion about this where I was like, man, there's like 15 guys you could say are top 10 or I might have said 20, right? Where you can have that discussion. You can have that debate. But a lot of people, again, Jamar Chase, wide receiver 1, Deebo Samuel, number 2, Tyreek Hill, number 3, Justin Jefferson, 4, Cooper Kupp, 5. I'm not going to lie. No Devontae Adams. That's a little weird to me. He thinks that there's going to be some type of drop-off going from Aaron Rodgers to Derek Carr. But when people talk about, oh, man, this stupid list, it's like, I can see why somebody would have Jamar Chase as the best receiver heading into this year. He was special. He was amazing. And I've said it, like, I don't think he's a great route runner. He said he's a good route runner. I don't think so. But if he does get that down, then he's going to be unstoppable. He's already damn near unstoppable. You can't play man coverage on him. They started trying to shade over the top of him. I don't know how he does it. He just runs straight. It don't even look like he's running fast, really, but he just runs straight, then just runs by people, and then he's so strong at the catch point, and then, like, uses his arm, and then, like, creates more separation, just outruns guys. It's crazy. Then his contested catch, terrific. His body control, terrific. But it's like, all right, he thinks he's going to be the best receiver in the league this year. I get it. Deebo Samuel, again, he's a threat to score anytime he touches the ball. I might as well put the highlight of Deebo on here right now from the NFC Championship game. They threw a goddamn tunnel screen to him, and he broke like 3 tackles and scored. He's a threat to score every time. So when people be like, oh, not a pure receiver, what does that mean? What does it mean? Because you want him to run a bit. Like, if he's at receiver and I throw the ball to him and he catches it and scores, who cares if it's a bomb and he does it, which we've seen him do that, or if it's a screen, or if it's a slant, or if it's a crossing route. If he's catching the ball and he's scoring, Deebo Samuel averaged the most yards per reception in the NFL. The most, over 18 yards per catch. The only other guy, the guy that was right there with him was Jamar Chase, who averaged 18 yards per reception. And he's catching bombs. Deebo's not even catching bombs. And he averaged 18, I believe it was off the dome, 18.2 yards per reception. Come on. Like, Deebo's special. And he wins with positioning, and he outruns guys to the end zone. It's baffling to me how they talk about Deebo Samuel. But it was good to kind of see Deebo Samuel get his flowers. All right, it was good to see that. Give Deebo his flowers. Wide receiver 2, again, some people might not have him that high, but whatever. He's a very special receiver. And he talked about, like, they asked him, well, he said he doesn't want to, he's like, they said Deebo doesn't want to be used as a receiver. As a running back. So do you still consider him the number 2 receiver in the NFL if they don't want to add some of the running back stuff? And he's like, yeah, I do. Because, that stuff just makes him even more special. But he's like, he still runs slants and take it to the crib. He can still run crossing routes, digs, and catch the ball. He can still run post. And that's what I'm trying to tell people. And I feel like that fits. They make it seem like it's just Kyle Shanahan that can get Deebo Samuel the ball. If a coordinator doesn't know how to throw a screen to a receiver, or doesn't know how to throw a slant to a receiver, or if he doesn't know how to design a dig or a post to a receiver, which are all things that Deebo Samuel excels at, then maybe he just shouldn't be a coordinator. Maybe he just shouldn't be a coordinator. That shit don't make no sense to me. All right, but clearly Chris Sims very high on Deebo, and I don't see anything wrong with his list. There are a lot of people like, oh, this is terrible. Again, I would have Devontae Adams in there. But whatever. It's not the worst thing in the world. All right, y'all, it's time, man. Y'all go ahead. Come on live. Come on live right now. Here's the link. Feel free, call in. If you're on Twitter and you kind of new to this is more, I like to look at this as more of a radio show, right? Because I do got Locked On 49ers with myself, Brian Peacock, 5 days a week. And that's really fun talking. It's more structured. We try to keep it short, 30 minutes. Like right now, we'd be wrapping up. But here, get the takeoff and get to just be like, all right, like, let's bring y'all on. Let's talk about it. Let's have a good, structured conversation with, I don't want to say like y'all fans, because we're all fans, right? But yeah, let's do it. Here we go. I got 2 guys coming on. I'm going to bring them both on at the same time. All right, so here we go. We got Dion and we have Gammon. All right, there we go. We'll just do it like that. How y'all doing today, brothers?
Hey, we good, man. I'm good. How are you guys doing this morning?
Yeah, I'm good. Hold on one second. We got Little Rock in here. Let's go. I'm kind of like a honorary Arkansan. That's what they call Arkansas people, Arkansan, which I don't get it. How do you go from Arkansas to like Arkansan? I don't know. But anyways, I'm an honorary Arkansan. So shout out to my Little Rock folks. They're, about an hour away from me. Let's go. But how you doing this morning, Gammon?
Man, I'm doing all right, brother, man. I'm just excited. I just want to start off first by saying, if you haven't taken the time, please do so to hit the like and subscribe button. This is like one of the very few communities where you get to talk to somebody who's on a national level and brings on anybody who's anybody on here. And I think that's pretty special.
I don't like to think of myself as being on a national level, but I will say I'm doing something with Bleacher Report, man. Gosh, man, they're paying me a decent amount of money to come on for 30 minutes. But anyways, I am doing something with Bleacher Report talking about the 49ers on Thursday. So I think it should be out Thursday. I know we have our kind of production meeting today at 1:30 my time, so I'm excited about that. Shout out to Bleacher Report, bring me on. I'm not a national guy, but I am kind of doing some things here and there. You feel me?
Speaking it into existence.
Yes, sir. Manifestations. Hey, nobody needs to know what you got. It's the fact that you got it. That's the blessing of that episode. I got to echo his sentiments, man. Deebo that like button. Deebo, I'm telling you, just like that. When you see it, that's the first thing you do. Come in, close the ads because they pop up.
Yeah.
Hit the like button. If if you're a person for reactions, you gotta love it. YouTube now it sparkles and changes colors.
But do y'all have any take? I don't know. Were y'all able to listen to the Tim Kawakami podcast with Kyle Shanahan? I know it's on The Athletic. It's behind a paywall, so some people haven't really listened to it. I got The Athletic at $1. Somehow they had like this promotion where it's like you get The Athletic for like a whole year for $1 a month. So
Yeah.
I got in good. I know some people are like, man, I don't want to pay $5 a month for that. But were y'all able to listen to that at all?
I was able to listen to it. And then I heard, strictly the soundbite where he was talking about the QBs and everything, all that good stuff. So I can definitely appreciate, the sentiments. It gives me peace of mind to know that he's got the same ideas that he does for Trey that he had for Jimmy in the aspect of, hey, it's going to be some ups, it's going to be some downs. There'll be a little few ebbs and flows, but we'll get through it regardless. So I can appreciate that much because that finally gives me what I've been asking for, to an extent. So, yeah, the interview was great. You are correct. He does not pay attention to social media because he's either dumbfounded by what people are telling him because he's like, I never heard of none of that. Or he just literally tunes it out when people bring it to him. He's got to tune it out because there's no way that you don't know that people are saying, hey, you're going to take Mac Jones, or, hey, Trey Lance has arm fitness, or somebody making, crazy things about, tend and whatnot. So I listened to it. He definitely brought me a little more peace.
I didn't, I'll be honest, I didn't listen to it, but I feel like if anything from what I've been hearing is that they just basically went into a little bit more detail. I never needed him to solidify or say anything or kind of drop the hammer. I think he's just been, and I've said this, plenty of times on the show. I feel like they're a little too overly honest. Like they show their hand a little bit too much. The only thing where I think that they're not transparent on, and I'm okay with it, is the injuries. When players are injured on the team, sometimes I'm going like, does Kyle Shanahan actually really talk to the medical people there, personnel on the team? Because I just feel like there's kind of a I don't know. He's just not. But that's it. But that's not information that you really want.
But this is what I think about that, Gammon. I think because a lot of times coaches, they don't really go in depth about injuries with like the training staff. He probably actually hears it from someone else. So a lot of what's going on is he probably, hey, what's going on with Elijah Mitchell? Oh, his ribs hurt. Like, there's a chance he's out this week. All right. And then he goes and he's asked about it to the media, and he's like, oh, his ribs hurt. He might be out this week. Then next thing you know, he's playing. Well, so he might come back Thursday and be like, oh, Monday it sounded like he was doubtful. Thursday it's like, excuse me, oh, he's going to play. Or it might be vice versa, right? Or, reversed, where, Tuesday when they talk to him, it's like, yeah, Elijah Mitchell, he might be out this week, blah, blah. Or he might be playing. We think he's going to play. Then come Thursday, it's like, oh, he might be out. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think he just, he reports it to the media when he's asked about it as he's hearing it. And I think people take that as if he knows more than what he's saying when he's initially asked a question. But I don't think so. I think he's not a doctor. He just asked the question. And then they let him know.
Yeah, it's just, that I think that, and that's the thing for us as fans, where it comes off a little confusing, because he does have these really direct answers when it comes down to big decisions or as far as with the players in the locker room. But in the injuries, you're kind of like, because I'll tell you what, going into this next season, if there's like if a player kind of limps off the field, I'm not taking anything that they say after the presser like at face value. But anything else, as far as transactions go, I do. And I think that 49ers fans, I think they're exhausted with the whole Jimmy Garoppolo thing since last offseason. Not even during the season, but since last offseason. And it's just kind of replowing the same ground. But the reason why I always knew that the 49ers would eventually trade Jimmy Garoppolo is because you have to do it differently from an organizational standard versus, your fan perception, which is a starting quarterback. There is value that's there. right? And I've just always kind of maintained that's at least a third or fourth round pick. Yes, 24.7 million, but that's going to get reworked. It's not going to stay that way. I remember, like, I want to say like 3 months ago, I asked, I did like a super chat for like Guy and for Haberman Middlecoff, and we're moving. And I on the super chat I said, hey, do you think that the 49ers will allow Don Yee to negotiate a trade for Jimmy Garoppolo the same way that Buckner's agent did? And I remember I did it like 3 months ago, and Haberman Middlecoff, they just like they read my super chat and they laughed and like, hell no, that's not gonna happen. Like wrote me off like I was dumb. And now look at us. Now they're history is kind of repeating itself. And then just real quick on the Deebo Samuel thing, I'm always kind of leery about stats. I'm always kind of leery about stats and I kind of watched this from basketball, because when Russell Westbrook, when he was on the Thunder and he got that triple double, it was kind of like a stat filler kind of stat. But Deebo Samuel's stats are like, I mean, it was the truth. Like when you said he was an impact player, and shout out to all my people in the chat right now who are military. But I remember I would just like get into these heated debates every single week, and then especially in the playoffs, like, you understand, like Deebo Samuel, this dude is the truth. Like, you understand. And then people respected the 49ers all the way through like weeks 15 through the playoffs because of the way this man like carried the team. Like, we had a quarterback who couldn't grip the football. Elijah Mitchell was held together with like Scotch tape and paper clips and bubble gum. And this dude he did like everything. So that man deserves every bit of the coin that he's about to get. I don't know if anybody wants to chime in with something other than that.
You got anything for him, Dion?
Man, be honest with you, bro. This team is ready for a new era. I do feel that we are moving in a better direction. I feel that this is probably the most confident I've been since Kyle and John have been here as it pertains to that. I think that now we'll start to see a bigger opening with the offense. I think the only thing that I want to see is who the starting offensive line is. Other than that, man.
And Kyle talked about the team being in a better position. He felt like after this OTA, he's like, I feel like the team is in a better place than they were last year. I'd say probably the bigger question mark is just the offensive line. But outside of that, I do think that the 49ers team is pretty
solid. Like we're solid, man. Like when you look all around, if you look on the defense, I don't find a hole. The only real question mark on the defense is who's going to play nickel. That's literally the only real question mark. After that, there are none. When you look on the offensive side of the ball, this is one thing that I will leave with, because I know Croc has other people that probably want to come on. I'll tell you this. If Deebo is not here, Mr. Jennings is going to get a lot of snaps. Now, what I'm saying with that is he's got a rapport built with Deebo. He's got a rapport built with Ayuk. He has one built with Juwan. Even has one built with Ray a little bit. Small, but it's coming along. Where's that rapport with Deebo? If I'm on the field, I got Deebo, Ayuk, and Jennings. I can trust Jennings and Ayuk more because I built a rapport. It's not to say that he won't throw his way, people. That's not what I'm alluding to. I'm just saying when a quarterback has a rapport built with the receiver, you find it easier to throw their way. Why? Because you already know what they're going to do. I know when he runs, this route, he does this. I know when he runs a hitch, he turns at this point. I know if he runs a post, there's certain things in his body language that are going to tell me he's moving, so now I can launch this rocket. Those are things that you have to build. That continuity must be there. And if they don't get Deebo signed before training camp, you're going to see Deebo on the outside looking in from a small standpoint because he doesn't have that rapport built with Lance. And typically, quarterbacks are going to go to who they feel comfortable with. But Deebo will still get his touches. He'll still get his yards, but that can be diminished if they don't get this contract finished.
Right. And I think they'll get
Yeah, I hear everything that you're saying, Dion, and I like how you said, like, hey, and you're right. I think he's got a lot better familiarity with some of the other pass catchers on the team. But you're right. Deebo's going to get his touches because the kinds of touches that Deebo gets, right, those yards after the catching it at the line of scrimmage or a couple yards behind the line of scrimmage, I don't think are things that really require at least initial onset. Now, maybe the deep throws, I think that's where that continuity comes into play. But the thing I keep on thinking about is last season, right? Like, how many touchdowns did Trey Lance throw?
6.
Yeah, and then how many of those were actually to Deebo Samuel? Like a majority of those touchdown throws.
I believe 2 or 3. 3.
3. Yep, 3 of those were already. So and you're right. He's going to get his touches. And I think that's kind of my big thing. Like if I were to say like, hey, who do I think leads in yards receiving for the 49ers? It's going to be Brandon Ayuk. And then if I were to say, who do I think is going to lead in touchdown receptions for the 49ers? It would be Deebo Samuel. And the other thing I want to touch on too, Dion, because I don't want people to think we're negative about the 49ers in any kind of way, because this fan base can't handle that. No, we're not like that. But the offensive line, and I'm guilty of this. I might be a little too critical of the offensive line, because I was thinking about the comments that I had last week. And one of the things I said was, because, yes, it's as simple as, the reason why the 49ers won more games with Jimmy Garoppolo than not with Jimmy Garoppolo is because there is a clear delineation difference between Jimmy Garoppolo versus your C.J. Beathard's and Nick Mullins and yada, yada, yada. What I did was, that's just an opinion, though, if you just leave it there. My analysis was, the analysis part of it was his quick release and getting the ball out quickly made the offensive line look better than it did, because they didn't give rushers time to get through into the back line. My thing is, yes, we're worried about the offensive line, but I think that Trey Lance will make this offensive line look better than it did, just like Jimmy did, but just with his elusiveness, his ability to extend plays. Jimmy Garoppolo couldn't really extend play. Well, when he did try to extend a play, I don't know how you felt, Dion, but whenever I saw Jimmy Garoppolo, kind of running left or running right, I was going like, man, I think that's going to be an interception. But with Trey Lance, extending a play, that's going to keep the pressures. I think the pressures are going to go up, but that's just because he's going to hold on to the ball a little bit longer, try and wait for his guys to get open. So the pressures will go up, but I think the sack stats will still stay pretty much the same. But just like you, Dion, I'm going to hop off here so the other callers can get a chance and get their shine on. Appreciate you.
All right. Appreciate y'all coming on. Thanks, Dion.
Hey, peace, Croc.
All right. Here we go. Coming up now, I got my guy Anthony Powers, man. Good morning, bro. How you doing?
Well, I'm blessed. It's late afternoon. I'm out here by the Red Sea in Egypt.
Oh, damn. What you doing out there?
I've lived out here for about a year and a half. I'm throwing a big spiritual music festival out here this November, where we're going to do a tour of 3 cities. We're going to do a private meditation inside of the Sphinx. I'm renting out. There's a secret room inside of the Sphinx. I'm renting it out for 2 hours. Yeah, it's going to be.
What made you move there? What made you say, I'm going to move to Egypt?
You know what God told me to? Like back home, like when I worked in America, I used to do music with Stevie Wonder, with Akon, with George Clinton, with Robbie Krieger from The Doors, with Santana. And I was just living a crazy, crazy rock star life. But like my main thing has always been like spirituality and teaching people how to love themselves so they can love each other better. So God told me to leave America for a while and come out on a pilgrimage. So I just want to let you know, just on a side personal note, I appreciate you. Like I have to get all of I'm a diehard 49er fan, and I've been out of Egypt for the past year and a half. So getting all of my 49er fix, you've been a big part of me getting my 49er fix while I'm out here. So.
Thanks, bro. I appreciate that.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, that's the Red Sea. For the first year I lived in Luxor, right on the Nile, right where the story of Moses went. I was living right on the water right there. And then I moved to the Red Sea in the new year. This area is like a little bit more like the touristy, like the party part of Egypt. So
that's dope.
Yeah.
So what you got? What's on your mind with the 49ers? Have you been able to listen to anything Kyle Shanahan said on Tim Kawakami
Yeah.
podcast?
Well, like the biggest thing is to tell people, like he's telling people, stop stressing. Like everybody's stressing about Jimmy, everybody's stressing about Trey, everybody's stressing about Deebo. Like Kyle, like I ain't got no worries. It's like that was like Kyle's big thing. He's like, I'm confident, the team's confident, we have a plan. Go ahead and relax, fans. We got your back. We wouldn't go to Trey if we didn't think that Trey was ready, And like and so much of the BS that's out there about Trey is because all of the media that were saying that we are going to get Mac Jones, people hate being wrong, and a lot of people just can't admit when they're wrong. So like they like to double down. People like to double down on their mistakes. So people are doubling down on Mac and that Trey isn't the one because they got egg on their face and they're still a little bit salty because of that process. So that's like a big reason why like there's so much. It's also because of clickbait, but it's also people just want to prove that they were right. So
I talked about that on a previous episode that people have a tough time with that. Like Jamar Chase. Yeah. I didn't think that Jamar Chase was a generational prospect coming out. I'm like, yeah, he's a good receiver. I think there's certain areas where it's like, yeah, he needs to improve here, he needs to improve there, and we'll see how his game transitions to the NFL. Well, it turns out I might have been wrong. He might just be generational, right? Like, and it's like that's exactly. Okay. That's okay, and I'm fine with saying that, dude. This is amazing. But I feel like there are a lot of people. I don't know if it's a pride thing or ego thing. And my guy Will Blackman, he tweeted out the other day. He said, "Man, reporters have bigger egos than the athletes." And I think he's right about that. And a lot of the reporters, there's this thing about just being right and then holding on to that. And it's like, dude, it's okay. Chris Sims, I talked about him earlier. Chris Sims was not high on Trey Lance. And even now, he might not be the highest. But I do know one thing. I heard him change his tune. Last year, after the Houston Texans game, he's like, you know what? If I'm the 49ers, I go with Trey Lance week 18 against the Rams. Now, I disagreed, but it's like that's somebody who, hey, this is what I had to say about him. I wasn't sure. And now he's like, like there's something there. There's still some things he thinks he needs to work on. But he was like, I think he makes the offense more dangerous and less risky.
Yeah, it gives the offense a lot more dynamic
because of the throws over the middle and all that. But that's someone saying, hey, like it wasn't high on him, but that's probably the guy we'll go with. And you just have to see if he continues to get better. Same thing with, I'd say, 99% of people about Josh Allen. Like if you watch Josh Allen this first year, really watched him. It was ugly. Yeah. It was ugly. Yeah. And I know I watched him coming out of college. And I'm like, man, I watched him against Oregon. I watched him in some school. I'm like, dude, this dude is erratic as hell. He's all over the place. Like, why would anybody draft this dude top 10? What are you doing? Okay, he got big, strong arm, whatever. Right. And I thought Senior Bowl, I'm like, okay, a little something here. He's amazing. One of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. And I think it's okay to
California
just be like, you know what?
By the way, Edison Fresno. I know you're Edison Stockton. I was Edison Fresno.
Oh yeah, I went to Sunnyside in Fresno.
You went to Sunnyside, okay. I went to Edison.
My freshman year of high school. I went to Sunnyside, and then after that, I moved back to Stockton, and I went to Tokay. But I coached at Edison. Okay. But Edison and Fresno, I played against them. So obviously, I played against them when I was a freshman, and then I played against them again in passing tournaments. We beat them. They had some guys, if I can remember a name, Johnny Sears.
Maybe that was like I graduated years ago. Like I was a freshman at Cal with Tony Gonzalez and all those cats.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, you don't look that old, so you're doing good.
Yeah, I just turned 46 yesterday.
Wow, that's crazy. I would have thought you were my age. I'm 35. I would have thought you was my age.
Yeah. So regarding the media, one thing I want to say about the media is, like I always say, beware of small people with big powers. Like,
I might have to tweet that out. I'll tag you. I'll be like, beware of small people with big powers, and I'll put Anthony Powers.
Yeah. And then one thing about Trey is that Kyle drafting Trey is him admitting that he was wrong about the type of quarterbacks he wanted before. So we talk about people admitting that they're wrong and they're changing and evolving. The entire process of Kyle taking Trey is part of his evolution, saying I was wrong to not want this type of quarterback, a quarterback that would only be my robot. And now, like him putting in Trey makes it so that he's not always in control of the joystick. Sometimes the joystick is on autopilot.
Yep. Now that's real. That's
Which
real.
was like,
I think that's a great like way to kind of look at the perspective of that, and I think that is right. Like Kyle Shanahan, and I remember reading this article in 2019, somewhere around there, where they had talked about how one of the coaches from his staff, one of his minions, was like, the offense makes the quarterback. The quarterback doesn't make the offense. I think when you go out and you get a guy like Trey Lance who has a little bit more ability, you are admitting to yourself that, you know what, maybe I don't have to make the offense make the quarterback. Yeah. Maybe the quarterback can improve on what my offense is. And I think maybe that's what he's trying to do with Trey Lance. And now, whether that would be the case or not,
expand on your point,
we'll see. But, yeah, go ahead.
To expand on your point, the offense makes the quarterback, but the quarterback enhances the offense.
Yep.
So, yeah. So that's so that's the main thing. I don't want to take up too much time. Like if you want later on, I can show you this resort. I'm in like a luxury resort. Like we have a pool and a hot tub right here in my nightclub out here. But
okay,
if you ever want to come to
in my nightclub, like subtle flex, I like it.
yeah. But if you ever want to come to Egypt, like I'll be coming back after November after my festival. My sister's getting married in Houston, so I got to walk her down the aisle. But keep on keeping on. I thank you for your content. Much love, and thank you for having me on your show, and I hope to be back soon.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
Have a blessed day.
You too. Man, my guy's out there in the Red Sea. Like, that's dope. How many people could be like, yeah, man, I live right here on the Red Sea, man. You know what I'm saying? That's crazy. That's crazy. That's dope. I need to get my passport so I can dip up out of here and go to Egypt with my guy, Anthony Powers. Beware of small people with big powers. Is that the saying? We got to have him put that in the chat. Hold on. Hey, Anthony, real quick. What was that saying again? What was that about the small people with big powers?
Cut to the slice of pizza. Yeah, beware of small people with big power.
Beware. I got to write that down. Beware of small people with big powers. I like that. I like that. All right, man. Appreciate you coming on, big dog.
Appreciate you, family. Have a blessed day.
You too. I like that. Here we go. I got my guy, Andre. What's good, Andre? How you doing, bro?
What's good, Croc? How you? Top of the morning to you, bro.
Oh, man, just chilling. Got a workout this morning. Hey, one thing I started doing, a couple of things one of my homeboys suggested to me. He was like, man, like he wakes up at like 3:30 a.m. and he goes and works out. Like that's the time he works out. And he talked about kind of getting your day started earlier and how much more you get accomplished. And I'm like, you know what? Let me do that. And the key to it is because a lot of people are like, man, I've been waking up at like 4:15 and then I go and work out.
Oh, wow.
People are like, man, that's so early. But if you don't eat late, like if you stop eating at 6, your body isn't working to recover during the night. Like so, a lot of people they'll eat late, like 10 p.m. Right, late night snacks, all that type of stuff, and then your body's trying to like break that down, so you're not getting like true rest. So I stopped eating late, and man, I wake up 4 a.m. No problems. Go get a workout, then prepare to come on this show, get some other stuff done, some editing, podcast stuff. I get so much done even by like 7 a.m. So that's awesome. But anyways, how you doing, man?
I'm good, fam. Hey, I appreciate you saying that because I actually started back on my workouts, man, like about 6 weeks ago. Just on a side note, but I do them in the evening times because I started this new job. I start earlier. I start at 7 in Roseville, and I live in Sac. So it's like, you know what I'm saying? It's just tough, but I would like to do that if I could. And I wanted to ask
Wake up earlier, bro. I'm telling you, as long as you don't eat late, and I probably get to sleep around 10:30 or so, I wake up as if I got 10 hours of rest. And it's like I pop up ready to go and go work out. And you get so much done throughout the day. Like, I get so much done, and I just started this in the last week or so, and I'm like, man, this is easy.
Okay, bet, bro. I'm gonna give it a shot, man. And then I want to ask you too before we get to this Niner stuff. What's that book, bro, that you was talking about? It was like a 75 day challenge. What is it called?
Oh, 75 hard.
Yeah.
So Andy Frisella, he's a I guess you call him an entrepreneur, and
Okay.
he created this challenge that helps create self discipline. Because
Okay.
everybody talks about self discipline. Everybody talks, oh, you need self discipline to do this, but nobody ever talks about how to create it. Now, some things in life
Right.
you do create like certain habits just because you have to go through some things, but
Right.
for the most part, as far as holding yourself accountable, how do you learn to do that? So he created
Right.
75 hard, and it's difficult.
Okay.
I mean, I've tried it 3 different times, and I have failed
Okay.
each time. Like, and if you're being real about it, right? If you're being real
Right. Right.
about
Right.
the things you're supposed to do, and if you don't do one thing, you got to start right back over. It's
Right.
difficult. It's the hardest thing I've ever had to attempt to do. So,
Right.
if you want to know more about it, man, let me know. I finished his book. I'll send you his book and everything. His book is called 75 Hard. I'll mail it to you, and
Okay.
it's a good read.
Yeah, that'd be dope. Oh man, may I DM you or something? 'Cause I think we friends on Facebook too.
Yeah, yep.
So maybe I can message you or something. But okay, but yeah, nah, man, just a couple things, man. I don't want to beat the dead horse, but with the Jimmy and Trey thing. But all I want to say, man, is I'm excited for the new era. I started watching the Niners like heavily in like after the '94 Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like I haven't seen in my generation too many really good quarterbacks that I'm excited about on the Niners, bro, to keep it solid. You know what I mean? So I'm excited for Trey, and I think like he gonna open it up, man. It's like the difference between guarding Jimmy and guarding Trey is like I play hoop, right? So it's like if you got somebody that can't shoot a lick, you like, oh, we gonna pick bruh underneath the free throw. You know what I mean?
Right.
We ain't worried about him shooting. That's like
Like
Jimmy.
they did with
You
like
know what I mean?
Rondo, or you know what I'm saying, or even Draymond Green,
Exactly.
right? Like they'll go underneath the screen, they'll sag off.
Exactly. And that's not to say they're not good, effective basketball players. That just means they're limited in how they can attack and threaten your defense. You feel what I'm saying? And that's how I
Yeah.
feel, man. I feel like Trey just gonna open it up that much more. So I'm excited to see what that looks like. You know what I mean? But yeah, nah, the one thing I wanted to mention that I'm excited about, man, and I ain't heard it been talked about enough is our pass rush, bro. I'm excited because I feel like this year we got so many capable bodies on the edge primarily that we might be able to give Bosa more of a rest. And you know what I'm saying? We added Hyder back. We added Teray. We drafted Drake Jackson. Who's coming back with a full off season. Like I think that's like I'm really excited to see how them boys perform, and I'm interested to see who you think gonna lead the team. Well, I should say I think Bosa's gonna lead the team in sacks, but who you gonna think is second and third behind Bosa?
Ooh, man. I think if the D line is as good as it could be, I think if we would say third, I'm gonna start with the third. I would say probably Eric
Yeah.
Armstead, right? Like just because
Okay.
when things are good around him and you start to be able to kind of free him up and single him up, he's a guy that can
Right.
definitely, when everything's collapsing, finish the play. And I can see his sack total being up there. So I'd say he's third. Second, that's a little tougher because they do have so many rotation type edge rushers. But I like the way Ebukam finished the season last year.
Oh, I forgot about him. Yeah.
Yeah, now he got to make
Yeah.
it, and he's a guy that is supposed to be getting paid. He's getting paid a decent chunk of money. I believe if they let him go, it frees up like $5 million that you're able to roll over.
Okay.
So
Okay.
there's a chance that they end up letting him go. Hopefully they don't for his. I like to see guys get paid, but I could see him potentially being a casualty if other guys are stepping up. So like if Drake Jackson comes in, he's doing his thing, and then you got other guys like Amenahu and some of these other guys, Hyder, that are much cheaper. I could see them just letting go of Ebukam. But if not, if he's there, I'd say he maybe finishes second on the 49ers.
Okay. I like that, man, and I'll second that with Armstead. But I think second, bro, I like Teray, bro. I think Teray got some juice off that edge, man. I think he a sleeper to maybe finish number two. But like you said, that's if Ebukam either don't pan out or we get rid of him, or he has a down year or something like that. But But yeah, man, I'm excited, bro. Training camp kicks off today, and hey, so are you gonna fly here to do any training camp coverage or anything like that, or what?
I might. We have to see because I'm talking about I got my gym that I'm building, and
Oh, that's right.
I'm prepping for a grand opening right now, and I will be going to
Nice.
California for some things. Like this weekend, I'll be out there. I'll be out there Friday. I wonder if I can get something
Okay,
for
good.
Friday. But anyways, I fly to California Friday. I'll be out there Saturday and Sunday getting these credentials for some weight training stuff, and we'll see. We'll
Okay.
see. Right now, it's gonna be kind of tough, but I do have somebody that will be joining this show on Wednesday evening, and so it won't be in the morning. It'll be
Okay.
Wednesday evening where I start to have some guests coming on. Really, like evenings. This person is a beat writer. They cover the 49ers. They've been covering 49ers for years. They've been, excuse me, they've been on the ground for years. They're at training camp, and they'll be giving us a lot of updates on this show.
Okay, bet, man. I look forward to it, bro. And yeah, I'm gonna for sure follow up with you about that 75 hard, bro, because I want to give that a shot. But I'll get off, man. And I appreciate you, man. Glad you back. And yeah, man, go Niners.
All right, man. Appreciate you coming on. Yeah, message me on Facebook, and I'll just shoot me your address. I'll send you the book.
Hey, much love, Croc. I appreciate that.
All right. Here we go. Got a couple more callers on right now. Let me see. Still $1 this AM. So this is somebody talking about The Athletic. So a lot of people, if you did want to listen to the Kyle Shanahan and Tim Kawakami interview, it's on The Athletic. If you want The Athletic or you want to subscribe to it, it's $1 right now, $1 a month. I know y'all got $1. I know y'all spend $1 on a lot. Shoes. I mean, you can't get anything for $1 nowadays. So if you can get this for $1, I think it's worth it. So right now, The Athletic sounds like it's $1 still. And here we go. We got Rob. He says, Croc, you played Johnny Sears freshman year. Yeah. There were a couple other dudes too at Edison. I feel like a couple of them died. Man, who was it? They died in like a car crash. What happened? I believe this happened maybe after I had left, because I played them again in the passing tournament. I don't remember the dudes' names, but there was some young dudes that were hella good, and they died in a car crash or something like that. Some players from Edison, but RIP to them. All right, but here we go. Got my guy B Mac. B Mac, good morning, man. How you doing?
Not too bad, Croc. How you doing?
Man, I'm chilling, man. I'm blessed. I can't complain. I'm feeling good.
This is actually one of the first times I called in one of these shows. I tried to get on Grant's show the other day. I know I talked to you guys in the spaces, but I don't know if you saw Brad's little interview with Aminhu.
I didn't see it yet. I hope to go back and watch it though. But I know I saw him with Aminhu, and I think he was working out with Eric Armstead or something, or he was with Eric Armstead.
Yeah, he was in the driver's seat. He was driving around. But yeah, he had a quote. He said something about Trey Lance. He said that Trey's got one of the strongest arms he's ever seen, and that he knows good quarterbacks because he worked with Deshaun Watson. So
Yeah.
I thought that was a really good quote. Everyone's backing Trey now. There's no doubt in my mind that he's QB1. I think just right now.
I think a lot of it had to do with the team getting a clear picture of who the quarterback was going to be. So you can see a guy is talented, but it's there was somebody in my DMs yesterday talking about Fred Warner and how Fred Warner never really went above and beyond to I don't even know what he was looking for Fred Warner to say, but Fred Warner was on the Rich Eisen show, and he never really was like, oh man, Trey, he's amazing. He's going to lead this team to a Super Bowl, all this, that, and the other. But he did say a lot of good things about the makeup of Trey Lance and getting ready and stuff. And you can see Rich Eisen trying to get a little bit more out of him. But it's bro, I play linebacker. It's not my decision on who the quarterback is going to be of this team. So if Kyle Shanahan wants to go with Jimmy Garoppolo, whatever, I play linebacker. I got to make sure this unit is as good as it get. If he wants to go with Trey Lance, cool. I think Trey Lance is getting ready for it, and he's going to continue to, grow, and he has a lot of good stuff, and he works hard, and he trains hard. So it's what more do you want to say? What more? But so there's that part. But go ahead.
Yeah. So I just want your opinion. So what you think? First off, who do you think they're going to throw in nickel? Because I've been thinking that it was going to be, if Barrett's healthy, it was going to be Mosley.
So in the perfect world, right? If we're talking about me, like who do I want? What do I want the starting secondary to look like? I would say in the base situation, it would be Emmanuel Mosley, Javarius Ward, Jimmy Ward, and then some combination of Hufanga, Odom, and whoever else they have at strong safety. All right, but if I got to pick one, I'd say Hufanga. I like the way he's made up, and I like guys that really take it serious and work to take their game to the next level. So we got Ward, Hufanga, Ward on the corner, and then Mosley. And then when we go nickel packages, I would slide Mosley into the nickel. And then on the outside, it would be some combination of Jason Verrett or Ambry Thomas. So that's where I'm kind of at with that. And I think Jason Verrett, it's weird because before last season, obviously he got hurt last year, but people were talking about him like, man, this is top 10 cornerback in the league. Like, you feel me? So I'm still high on Jason Verrett until he shows me that he just can't play. So I think he should be a guy that's in there.
So if Verrett's not healthy, who do you think is going to play nickel?
I'd say Ambry Thomas on the outside, and unless he ends up getting beat out, because I'm not gonna lie, I like Castro Fields. So I'm excited to see what Castro Fields does. Everybody's gonna talk about Trey Lance during rookie camp. I want to know what Castro Fields looks like. I said rookie camp, but training camp. I want to know what Castro Fields looks like though.
I thought you were high on Womack. You changed the Castro Fields?
No, I wasn't. I was never like a Womack guy. I think.
Okay.
Yeah. Matter of fact, I think Womack, it looks like an outside corner to me. I think just in a smaller body, meaning 5'9", but he's got these long arms and his movement skills look more like an outside guy. But I was a little higher on Castro Fields as a pure outside guy with size, speed. With him, it was just, can you hone in a little bit more on your technique? And if you can do that, then yeah, I think he's somebody that could be a legit corner in the league. Be a little bit more consistent at the line of scrimmage.
So my last one, and then I'll let you get the next guy. What do you think? You think Charles Omenihu was going to get moved to the middle, or you think they're going to try to keep him on the outside?
I think he's a guy that is one of the more kind of versatile pass rushers. If you remember last year, 49ers with even Arden Key, right? Arden Key was a guy that was kind of an edge guy, and he was talking about playing in that. But, I mean, they did some rushes from him with him from the interior, and that helped. So I'd assume that Omenihu, who's a guy who has a really good first step off the line of scrimmage, he could chase down runs from the backside. If they play Armstead full-time at that 3-tech, then I can see a scenario where Omenihu is on the outside in base situations.
Yeah, I'm pretty high on Omenihu. I feel like people are kind of like not getting him his dues, because I feel like he's going to have because he came in the middle of the season, and he's still, I think he had 5.5 sacks?
I don't remember. I mean, I ain't even look, but yeah. He contributed. And the 49ers pass rush, you talk about when they started getting better, it was around the time Omenihu showed up. And I'm not saying he was the reason, but you definitely saw the 49ers improve in the pass rush second half of the season, and that was around the time Omenihu got there.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for having me on, man. I appreciate what you do, being in the spaces and stuff, because I feel like you're kind of our inside guy right now, especially with a lot. There's so much 49ers content. Some of it's really good, and some of it you're kind of So, but I appreciate what you guys do. So keep on doing what you're doing, man.
Oh, man, I appreciate that, man. Thanks.
All right, man. Take it easy.
All right, you too. See you in the spaces. All right, here we go. Last caller of the day. I got a private session in 15 minutes, but luckily for me, my gym is on my property, so I'll be good to get there. We got Chris on. Chris Roscoe. Shout out to Chris. What's good, man? Good morning, bro.
What's up, Croc? How's it going?
Oh, man, I'm chilling, feeling good. Got a workout this morning. What you do? You get a workout this morning? Hell no, you probably in bed.
Man, I woke up, and I read my word, and
okay, you read your word though, so okay.
Yeah, that's the spiritual workout. But anyways, shout out to the 49ers space community. We've been holding it down while you content creators are gone. We've been holding it down.
But I was in the spaces.
You were in the spaces. Shout out to you, Clark, for being in the spaces. Not everybody come in the spaces. You come in the spaces often, actually. So shout out to you for being in the spaces.
That's just because I'll be doing something and I just like to hear people's perspective, and I think it helps me a lot with, kind of the show or, just things to talk about, and it helps me with my thoughts. You got a daily podcast with Locked On 49ers, myself, Brian Peacock. Make sure I listen to that. But I like to get the pulse of the fan base, and then I try to bring a different perspective to some of the things that they're talking about. So that's why you typically will find me in there listening.
And see, that's a gem you just dropped for content creators. All the content creators listening to Craft Show, search for content. Look around, get the pulse of the fan base. Listen to what people has to say. Sometimes you don't want to always hear your opinion. We get other people's perspectives, and maybe it'll help change your opinion or maybe validate your opinions. But that's dope. That's a good thing. But man, Croc, I just came on here to say I'm excited. Football's back, baby. Oh man. 49er football is back. Oh my God, I'm excited. Trey Lance, that interview talking about Trey Lance, which he said it before, but I guess, a lot of people needed a definitive answer. Well, Kyle Shanahan gave that definitive answer that Trey Lance is our starting quarterback. And I am real excited about it. I'm happy. I'm excited about our running back. We got a deep running back room. We got a very good receiver room, in my opinion. Our defensive line, bro. Like, the rotations that we're going to have throughout the season is going to be insane. I love our linebackers. I love our DBs. This may be the strong... Matter of fact, this is what I'm going to ask you, and then I'm going to get off. Do you feel like this is the strongest DB room we've had in a very long time?
No.
What?
No. I think heading into 2020, the room was stronger.
What?
Yeah, dude. I mean, you had Richard Sherman coming off an All-Pro year. I felt like Ahkello Witherspoon was a starting caliber cornerback. Emmanuel Mosley, definitely a starting caliber cornerback. You had Kwan Williams, legit starting nickel guy, and you had Tart and Ward at the safety spots. I feel like that was a very strong room. And Jason Verrett. Did I mention Jason Verrett?
No, you didn't.
And Jason Verrett. Yeah.
Man. Okay, fine, Croc. Wait. Okay. But you know what? I would say Travarius Ward is much younger than Richard Sherman. I think Emmanuel Mosley is much more experienced. I think Jimmy Ward is getting better by year. And then, of course, you got Hufanga. That's a question mark. And then you got a question mark at nickel. But if Mosley plays nickel, then we should be fine. And then you still got Jason Verrett coming back, even though it's off injury. I don't know, man. I feel like we a little bit more deep. I'm not going to argue with you on that one because, I'm not going to do that. But
well, I'm just saying, like, a little bit more you just said, like, kind of a question mark at the strong safety position, and we'll see.
Yeah.
And definitely a question mark at the nickel spot. We, like, legit, we'll find out, but, like, who the hell is the nickel? There were no questions about the secondary heading into. The only question about the secondary heading into 2020, and I know the season didn't go like people wanted it to, but the only question mark was, is Witherspoon going to start or Mosley going to start? Like, that was literally the only question. And I thought both of those guys were starting caliber corners.
Maybe that was a question for you because I think after the playoffs, I think we all felt that Mosley made a great case to start while Witherspoon was going through his issues. But anyways, though, I'm gonna give you that. 2020, maybe it was stronger. Even though I feel like this is the deepest cornerback room. Just overall DB room we've had in a very long time. But overall, I'm just, man, this season. Last year it was so many storylines, so many things happened. It was a roller coaster of a season, and I wouldn't exchange that season for anything because it was amazing. I got to go to the NFC Championship game. This year, man, I know it's going to be another roller coaster. That's just how it is, in football, in the football season. But, Croc, I'm excited, man. I'm excited. Football's back. Like, we got football here. I'm excited. So, I probably said excited like 30 times, but I don't care because I'm happy, man. I'm happy. Bosa, I think Nick Bosa, being slighted for All Pro, man, a lot of people gonna have to pay for that. I think Fred Warner. I think he's gonna. Some people say it was a down year. I don't think he had a down year. He just didn't make as many plays as he did the year before. So I think
who?
Fred Warner.
Okay.
So I think Fred Warner. I think he's gonna have a year where he's gonna be known as a playmaker. So those are my two guys that I'm gonna be excited about. Of course, I'm Talanoa Hufanga. I just hope that he shows people that he can be a starting caliber safety.
Right.
I don't need him to be an all-pro. I don't need him to be a pro bowler. I just want him to be a starting caliber safety and minimize the mistakes that he may make. It's going to be growing pains, though, because it's going to be his first time, being a full-time starter. So if he wins the battle in camp. So I definitely think that Talanoa Hufanga just minimize the mistakes and show that you could be a starting level safety. But Croc, I know you got to go, so I'm gonna get out of here. Thank you for bringing the morning show back. We out here, baby. 49er football is back.
All right, let's go. All right, shout out to my guy Roscoe. He's got some things I want to answer here. Got a super chat from my guy Tyrell. He says CB depth way better than running back depth, way better D line. I like it. And here's the tough thing about CB depth. I remember last year, like going into the year, and I think it is better this year. But I remember last season thinking, oh man, 49ers solid, like decent DB depth, CB depth. I thought it was decent. But then when you have to start the season and it's like, well, there's no Jason Verrett now, there's no Emmanuel Mosley, whatever depth you thought you had, like that stuff is gone. So that's a little tough. But yeah, D-line, super deep. D-line is super deep. I agree for sure there. Oh, and I appreciate the contribution too, Tyrell. I'm excited 49er football is back. It's Trey Lance time. Thank you for another great show. Well, thank you, Tanya. I appreciate you and the contribution. Let's go. It is football time. It is Trey Lance time. And I think I'm excited that you just get to see the kid and see the growth. And I don't know about everybody else, but I love seeing growth. That's why I train athletes. I like to see where the kids are. And, after my instruction, after me working with them, I talk up to the parents about seeing the progression in the kid from the first workout. And then, after a few months, like looking at where they are doing those same things and how far they've come. And I hope to see that with Trey Lance. Like, man, where he was in his first start against Arizona, then where he was in Houston, and then, man, I can't wait for, 2 years from now to think back, like, man, remember the first year Trey Lance started and look where he's at now. So I think when it comes to Trey Lance, that's what I'm most excited about, just to see the growth in the process. I built this gym, and it's been awesome to see the development of this gym from the ground up. Like, literally, it was dirt. It was just dirt. It was a grass field. Then they came, they laid the dirt down. Then they came and they did the cement, right? They started to build the foundation. The beams went up. And now my gym is almost built. And it's been awesome just seeing the development of it. And I look at players the same way, where it's like, man, you start with this kind of foundation and you see Trey Lance and a lot of the intangibles that he has from a mental standpoint and the physical capabilities. And then now just seeing the growth in him. And I think that's what I'm really excited to see when it comes to Trey Lance. So, yeah, let's go Trey Lance. 49er football is back. Shout out to you. Thank you, Tanya. And the last one that I wanted to get to here, Mosley isn't playing nickel. And I would say, you know what? Like, maybe you're right. Maybe you're right, but I'll say this. When Mosley got to the 49ers, and a lot of people forget this. When Mosley got to the 49ers, he was a nickel. He was an outside guy that would go into the nickel in nickel situations. So if you remember back to his rookie year, really his first 2 years, but his rookie year, everybody was so high on Tavarius McFadden, the guy out of FSU, because as a sophomore he had 8 interceptions, right? And I remember watching Emmanuel Mosley. He was outside corner at Tennessee, and the 49ers got both of them undrafted. And I watched him like, this Mosley guy's better than McFadden. People are like, nah, and I'm like, yeah, he is. And next thing you know, they ended up keeping him on the practice squad. But during that rookie preseason for him, he was outside in base, and then when they went to the sub package, he went into the nickel. he played nickel. And then McFadden would come in and play on the outside. And then they continued that. Obviously, during the season, Mosley got activated. Then, boom, like the first game, he broke his arm or whatever he did. Well, the next preseason, same thing. Mosley would play on the outside. Then he'd come in and he played in nickel. And he did that throughout the preseason. So to say Mosley isn't playing nickel, maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. Maybe he's not. But there's definitely value there, especially for a player who I thought was really good there. To the point where you could probably go back and find some tweets of when I said, I think that the 49ers, I feel like the 49ers would let go of Kawhi Williams and make Mosley the full-time starter. Now, they didn't, but that's just to say of, how high I was on Mosley playing the nickel position. I thought he was really good. So, will he be a nickel? Will he play nickel? I don't know. But I know he's definitely capable of doing it. Shout out to everybody. Shout out to everybody that's in the chat right now. Again, coming Thursday. So make sure y'all set your alarms. Make sure y'all do whatever you got. I'm doing it probably at the beginning of the show. I'm going to do a giveaway. I'm going to have this 49ers gift basket, and I will be purchasing a jersey of your liking, whatever jersey you want, and it will be all shipped directly to your house. All right, the gift basket, the jersey is going to you. I'm going to pick a random person, and basically all I'm going to do is go through the chat. All right, so make sure y'all in the chat, and I'm just going to click. I'm not even looking. I'm not looking. Boom. Oh, boom. And like, oh, Andre, you're the winner of the prize. So that's how we're going to do it. All right, that's how we're going to pick the person. I'm just going to go through, and I'm going to pick a random person. So giveaway, that's coming this Thursday, the drawing for that. Make sure y'all tune in, set your alarms, whatever you got to do, notifications. Come on live, and we're going to do our giveaway, all right? But appreciate everybody that's tuned in. I got to go train this athlete right now. Y'all make my mornings a lot better. Appreciate the morning show coming back. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Peace.
Intercepted. It is picked off by Aaron Crocker. Over midfield, he'll run it all the way into the end zone. Touchdown.
Crop Talk TV podcast. Peace.